try and then share. So before I share this, what we are coming to do today, in fact, I really forgot to give you the slide, so I will do it after I am done. And after I am done, I'll give you the slides that we treated last week, and I think today's on too. But let us quickly look, recap what we did. Let's reflect on what we did last week. What did we do last week? What did we do? Briefly, let's see what we did last week. What did we do? What do you remember we did last week? What do you remember from last week's lecture? I'm listening. Oh. I want us to refresh our minds on what we did last week, and then quickly we move on to today's on.
Madam, we looked at teaching as a profession. We also explained about teaching as an art and as a science. Thank you.
Okay, that is fine. Yeah, that is fine. And any other? Any other? What we did last week, what you remember?
We also looked at what qualifies one to be called a professional teacher.
Okay, that is fine. All right. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at today's on. So last week, in fact, we looked at the nature of teaching. Okay. And then we also looked at the concept of teaching itself. We looked at the various definitions of teaching. I'm trying to share. I don't know whether it is here. Yes, can you see?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we looked at the definitions of teaching. We looked at teaching as an art, teaching as a science. We also looked at the teaching learning processes. We saw that there's a teacher, there's a learner, and then there's a subject matter. We also looked at phases of first year teaching. So today, quickly, we are moving on to the models or frameworks of effective teaching. Models or frameworks of effective teaching. So you see, there are several models of teaching, and we are going to look at the quality teaching model. There are so many models of teaching, but we are going to concentrate on the quality teaching model, which was developed by the University of New South Wales in Australia. And it follows a three approach. They are three in dimension. We have the intellectual quality, we have the quality learning environment, and then significance. So we are saying that there are several methods of teaching, and when we look at effective teaching, so many people have come out with some definitions. Some are saying that, or some scholars have attempted to give various definitions of a teacher effectiveness depending on the context within which the concept is being used. As seen by Anderson in 2004, is of the view that effective teachers are those who achieve goals which they set for themselves or which others have set for them. So Anderson is saying that if you call yourself an effective teacher, then it means there is something, that is, there is a goal that you yourself, you have set for yourself or others have set for you that you need to achieve. So if you are able to meet that set goal, then it means you can be called an effective teacher. So in looking at the quality teaching model, we are saying that all assessments and evaluation techniques contain implicit assumptions, but the characteristics that constitute quality teaching is what we are looking at. So quality teaching is that activity which brings about the most productive and beneficial learning experience for students and promote their development as learners. Effective teaching, as we looked at, says that if you can be called an effective teacher, then it means they have set a goal, or you yourself, being the teacher, you have set a goal for yourself that you have been able to achieve. And in the quality teaching too, we are saying that it is not only you achieving your goal, but what do you do? The activities that goes in there, okay, and which brings about beneficial experience for students and which also promotes their development as learners is what we term as quality teaching. So as a teacher, if you can teach and then achieve your goal, but if it doesn't bring out any benefit to the students, or if it doesn't promote their learning, or if it doesn't bring any developmental changes in the learners, then in this case, we are lacking something that is called quality teaching. So we are saying this experience may include, so the quality teaching, that experience that we are talking about that happens in the learners, includes aspects such as improved comprehension and of ability to use ideas introduced in the course. So as a teacher, if you have introduced some ideas in the course and the learners have been able to use them, and then it has also changed in outlook, their attitudes, and even enthusiasm towards the discipline and its place in the academic endeavor, then there is quality teaching in them. Again, intellectual growth. If what they came with now has changed and their intellect is now better than what they brought, then there is quality teaching there. Again, improvement in specific skills such as critical reading and writing, oral communication, analysis, synthesis, abstracts, and generalization. If all these things are being manifested in the learner, then your teaching is what? Of a quality standard. Because probably when the learners came in, they couldn't write, they couldn't, their oral skills were not all that good. But after you teaching them, they have gotten all these skills. All these things are working well as you wished, or as you put there in your goal. Then we can say there is quality teaching. Okay, so that is the difference. The effective teaching is when you are being able to achieve the goals that is set, or you yourself, you set for yourself, you have been able to achieve it, then you are being effective. But the quality comes in when we see that it is most productive and beneficial to the learner, and it also promotes their development as learners. Then quality teaching comes in. Okay. So as I said earlier on, with the quality teaching model, there are three main dimensions. We have the intellectual quality, the quality learning environment, and then significance. So we'll be taking them one after the other. So let us discuss. When we say intellectual quality, what is it? Intellectual quality. What do we mean by intellectual quality? What is it? Intellectual quality. Intellectual quality. Let's try what intellectual quality is. What is it? When we say intellectual quality, what comes into your mind? I'm listening. Oh. What is intellectual quality? When we say intellectual quality, what can you make out of it? What do you think it is?
Okay, Doc, to the best of my knowledge,
Hmm.
intellectual quality refers to the depth, complexity, and sophistication of ideas, thinking, or work.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That is fine. Any other attempt? Any other intellectual quality? Yes, as he said, he is thinking about. Okay, as he said, he is looking at the in-depth or deep thinking. Any other person who can also say something? Intellectual quality. Intellectual quality. What is it? Intellectual quality. When we say intellectual quality, what is it? All right. So when we say intellectual quality, this has to do with the mind, in the intellect. Okay. It has to do. I'm coming. Give me. I'm coming with you. Okay. So when we say intellectual quality, as I said, it has to do with the mind, the intellect. Let me show it. It has to do with the mind, the intellect. So if it has to do with the mind, then it means you have deep knowledge about something. It means you know the principles, you know the central or the concept, the ideas in a subject area. So for instance, in accounting, when we say, oh, this is an accounting curriculum, this one does not deal with the normal memorizing and reproducing, no. But this one has to do with you interpreting, you synthesizing, for us to know that you actually understand. You being able to do a work that is challenging, a work that is centered on significant concepts and ideas and required substantive cognitive and academic engagement with deep knowledge. So deep knowledge, we mean you know the principles in there. So if you are working, you are not just going to do chew and pour, no, but you are working as if, so you understand. So if they give you a work, you'll be able to interpret it. So this is it. How do you interpret it? How do you synthesize? How do you show relationship between different kinds of information? And then you even explain why some answers are even better than others. You are able to solve unfamiliar problems, which might even have more than one plausible answer. So when it comes to that, then that we see it is an intellectual quality. You are using your mind to do that. And with the intellectual quality, there are components. There are 6 components of the intellectual quality. Because it deals with the mind, first, you need to have deep knowledge. So in accounting, you are an accounting teacher. As an accounting teacher, and you have an intellectual quality, what are you supposed to know? Or what are you supposed to gain? You need to have deep knowledge. Again, you need to have deep understanding. You also need to have problematic knowledge, higher order thinking, meta language, and then substantive communication. So these are the 6 aspects of the intellectual quality. 6 aspects of the intellectual quality. So we are going to take them one after the other. The first one, that is the deep knowledge. Deep knowledge refers to the things that are really important in the topic or knowledge. So in here, knowledge, we are referring to the subject matter. So when you hear knowledge, we are looking at the subject matter or the content. So that is what we are referring to as the knowledge. So if you have deep knowledge, then it means you really know the important things in there. And here we are referring it to the key ideas, the concept. So in accounting, what are the key ideas in accounting? What are the concepts in accounting? What are the principles that form the basis of a discipline or a subject area? So that is it. That is the deep knowledge. Deep knowledge. So if you have deep knowledge, then it means as an accounting teacher, when we say what is the golden rule, you have knowledge in the area. So you should be able to say that principle. Okay, so you should know the principles that underpin that subject. And then we move on to the deep understanding. Or for instance, deep knowledge is evident, okay, when the teacher or the student provides information, reasoning, or argument that addresses the centrality or the complexity of a key concept or idea, or when relatively complex relations are established to other central concepts. Again, we are saying that quality teaching should make opportunity to investigate the central concept of a lesson, to digest it into full understanding. So deep knowledge is about how content is presented in a lesson And for that matter, it heavily rests on the accounting teacher. So for learners to also have deep knowledge, we are saying it rests on the accounting teacher, because he or she is supposed to make sure that he himself or herself know the concept, the principles, and should be able to what transfer it to the learner, for the learner to also have that deep knowledge. Then we go to deep understanding. Deep understanding is evident when the student or the accounting teacher is able to demonstrate diagrams of the central ideas and concepts. So if the learner or the teacher is able to demonstrate the central ideas of the concepts, then we are saying that they have deep understanding. Now you are telling me that you have deep knowledge in accounting. What shows that you have that deep knowledge? You are understanding will let me know. So you understanding, you being able to solve problems will let me know. So students demonstrate deep understanding when they explore relationship or solve problems. So when they are able to solve problems, then it means they have what? Deep understanding. When they're able to construct, explain, if they're able to draw conclusions in relatively systematic or integrated or complex ways, then they have deep understanding. It means they understand. You have that knowledge. What shows that you understand? You being able to what? Explain, you being able to solve problems shows that you have deep understanding. So deep understanding is about learning the student demonstrates. So the learning the student demonstrate. For example, in preparing the final account of an entity, students resort to a multiplicity of knowledge gained in a lesson or over a period to prepare the account. So if a student successfully prepares the account from a given data, then thorough understanding is communicated. So the teacher has taught you that this is how to prepare the final account. So if the learner is able to demonstrate, write it, or prove that he or she understands on the paper, then we actually know that the learner has deep understanding. Again, deep understanding occurs when learners are able to rework the element of deep knowledge into a coherent, holistic, and integrated structure that enables them to solve complex problems and draw informed conclusions. So that is deep understanding. Any questions or contributions? Okay. If there is no question, then we are moving on to problematic knowledge. Problematic knowledge. So here, knowledge is treated as problem when it involves an understanding of knowledge, not as a fixed body of information, but rather as being socially constructed and hence subject to political, social, and cultural influences implication. So we are saying that knowledge is treated as problem when we are not looking at it as a subject. Okay, we are not looking at it as, oh, this is problematic knowledge, is this? No, but we are looking at it as when it can be caused by political, okay, politics. So let's say government comes in and then they are bringing in a new regulation. It becomes a problem for us, so we solve it. Again, in our society, all of a sudden, COVID came in. How do we treat it? So that is the problematic knowledge. And with this one, Multiple constructing and potentially conflicted forms of knowledge are presented and recognized as constructed and open to question. So here, the problem has come. How do you solve it? And you are a teacher, you have a knowledge in, let's say, accounting, and that then now teachers, COVID has come. We cannot move. Things are not moving. So what can you do? Then quickly, as an accounting teacher, knowing the principles, understanding, having deep understanding, having deep knowledge, what can you do? You use the principles that you have actually acquired there. So, oh no, so now people cannot move. What can we do? Then we can do e-commerce. We can be selling online. I don't need to come to you direct. We don't need a physical space to sell there. Let us use this medium. Oh, so how do you pay me? Okay, then we are going to use Momo. Let us pay through the electronic way. Okay, so e-cash. So these are some of the things. So you look at politically what is happening, socially what is happening. Okay, then cultural influences. That happens. Then you try and then solve them as and when they come. For instance, in accounting, these principles may actually not work because accounting is regulated by principles. Of course, we know. We have the International Financial Reporting Standards that makes the treatment of certain information union, which is not subject to change or irrespective of the political or social context. But as I said, in case of taxation, so if with taxation, you see how when we saw that COVID has come and now people are using e-cash, they are using e-banking, e-commerce. So how can we even tax people so that at least those who are doing the e-banking and the e-cash and the e-commerce and the rest, how can they also pay tax? So you see, we have taxation. That is the normal thing. We do the normal tax system, but the society that we find ourselves in has brought that. So we need to introduce something called e-levy, so that those who are also trading online will pay tax. So this is it. You look at the problem, the situation that has come, and then you what you have learned with the deep understanding or deep knowledge, you try to solve it. Any question or contribution up to this point? We are building up. So if you have a question or contribution, you can bring it. Any question or contribution? Any question? Please, are we following?
Yes, please.
Okay. If you keep quiet like that, it looks like I am the only one here. So, okay. Then we have higher order thinking. Higher order thinking. Here we are saying that higher order thinking requires students to manipulate information and ideas in ways that transform their meaning and implication. Higher order thinking requires students to manipulate information and ideas in ways that transform their meaning and implication. And this transformation occurs when students combine facts and ideas in order to synthesize generalize, explain, hypothesize, or arrive at some conclusion or interpretation. Manipulating an idea through these processes allows students to solve problems and create new meaning and understanding. So higher order thinking, as we are building on, looks at how the learner applies what he or she has learned by you synthesizing or generalizing, hypothesizing. So that makes you a high order thinker. You understand the situation. So what can you do to help? How will you help solve the problem? You do that by thinking. And by thinking, you can apply, you can synthesize, you can analyze, you can generalize, hypothesize. So when students demonstrate higher order thinking, they may also generate unexpected concepts, ideas, and products which can take the learning in new directions. So unless there are opportunities to engage in higher order thinking, it is unlikely that students will achieve deep understanding of concepts. So you need to understand the concept first, and then you should be able to apply what you have actually learned by analyzing, synthesizing, explaining, etc. Then the next one is meta language. We are saying that lessons are high in meta language, or lessons high in meta language have high levels of talk about the language and how texts work. So teachers or students frequently take opportunity to draw attention to particular aspects of text, that is words, images, or symbols, either at a key point in the lesson or when students are obviously having difficulties in interpretation. So with the meta language, we are saying that every discipline has a language that those in that discipline understand. So it is the talk that they do in that discipline. So for instance, in accounting, when a teacher comes and the teacher writes on the board DR and then also writes CR, immediately the teacher is done writing all those things on the board. You see that the learner will quickly get it because that learner is in that area, and that language that the teacher has put in on the board, the learner understand. Okay. So that is it. They are the symbols, images, or words in that discipline that you use as a language. So when you go to the let's say social studies field, you see that they also have their own geography. They will draw something and you don't know. When you see it, you think it is nothing, but they understand. When those who are doing computing, they put some programming something down. You look at it, you think it is nothing, but it has a meaning. So this is what we are talking about. The meta language is the language that they use. Okay. So such discussions will often focus on pointing out how differing sentences, types of text, discourses, and other symbolic representation actually work, comparing and contrasting different texts and showing how language and symbols can be used to construct text, knowledge, and power. For example, in accounting, we use, as I said, the debit and credit, and even the T accounts. If you see this T sign, it means that it is what? The T account. So if you see T in an accounting class, every student there knows what it is. Then we have substantive communication. Substantive communication. With the substantive communication, we are saying that in classes with high levels of substantive communication, there is sustained interaction about the substance of the lesson. Again, classes high in substantive communication have three characteristics. One, there is a sustained interaction or conversation. Again, the communication is focused on the substance of the lesson, and then the interaction is reciprocal. So that is substantive communication. And so there is a sustained interaction. The communication is focused on the substance of the lesson, and then the interaction is reciprocal. So that is substantive communication. It is not a communication that you just speak and then you go away. No. When you are in the classroom, you should be able to sustain your learners. Again, there should be a conversation. You should be talking. And then with the topic talking to, it should be a two-way. The students can also ask you questions. The teacher also asks student questions and then also give them information. Then again, the communication is also focused on the substance of the lesson. So if it is accounting that we are learning, we are not talking about any other thing other than accounting. So that is when it is being focused on the substance of the lesson and even how it is even going to help the learners. So the element identifies the quality of communication that is oral, written, or symbolic, and it requires to promote coherence, share, understanding. And then it also encourages students to generate questions about the topic for research and discussion and use these as basis for lesson development. Any question on the intellectual quality? I said the intellectual quality has 6 dimensions. We have the deep knowledge, deep understanding, the problematic knowledge, higher order thinking, meta language, and then the substantive communication. Any question?
No, please, I'm okay.
Okay. So the second dimension of the quality teaching model. So the first dimension was the intellectual quality. Now the second dimension, which is the quality learning environment, also has some key elements under them. They are 7. We have the explicit quality criteria. We have engagement. We have high expectations. We have social support. We have scaffolding. We have student self-regulation and student direction. So they are 7 in all. They are 7. We look at them one after the other. The quality learning environment. Here we are saying that learners know that they are respected, and are safe from negative social interaction. And they also know that they are trusted by the teacher and are encouraged to make inputs into what they learn, when and how they learn. So the quality learning environment, when the teacher is in a class, the teacher makes sure that everybody matters. Everybody's idea is something that is cherished in the classroom. No matter where you are coming from, you are being respected, and nobody does anything harsh to you. Even the teacher himself or herself knows and then encourages you to make some input in the classroom. So, for example, accounting students must concentrate their efforts in order to achieve high standards that have been made clear. So the teacher understands and respects the situation of every child, regardless of the background. And this enables students to develop self-confidence. So because of this, the learners develop self-confidence because they know that any answer or whatever they do, the teacher supports them. Mhm. So the first element under the quality teaching, quality learning environment is explicit criteria, explicit quality criteria. High explicit quality criteria are identified by frequent, detailed, and specific statements about the quality of work required by students. Explicit quality criteria become reference points when the teacher and or students use the criteria to develop and check their own work or the work of others. So it means that the accounting teacher is supposed to set standards of performance and communicate to the students. And the teacher should provide annotated examples, that is work examples or models that illustrate high quality student performance based on the criteria. And then these examples could also be work from past students and as other sources. For example, published final accounts of a recognized, let's say, an institution, a bank, or let's say a company. As a teacher, when you are going to class, you don't just go, you teach them and then you leave. And then when they are misbehaving, then you find a problem with it. So, or when you give them work, they just do how they understand and you don't agree with them. Yes, that is what will happen. Because as a teacher, you need to set standards in your class. By setting standards, let them, for instance, when we started this course, initially I asked you to, or I showed you the course outline. And then I told you what I would demand from you, or what the course demands. That is the assessment and let's say exams. So as a teacher, if you are in the class, let your criteria be known. How are you going to do your scoring? How are you going to assess the learners? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to write exams? Do you want them to do presentations? Do you want them to do assignments? How should they go about things? And if you have works that other learners, let's say those you have taught already, they have resources or sources of documents that the learners can look at, you provide them. Or you are teaching and you feel that there are accounts with other companies or institutions that you can share with your learners, you do. And you tell them this is how I want it to look like. So that is it. You let them have the criteria in which you want to operate so that they can also go by it. Then the second point is engagement. We are saying that high engagement is identified by on-task behaviors that signal a serious investment in classwork. And these behaviors include sustained interest and attentiveness, individual focus on work, showing enthusiasm for the work, and taking the work seriously. So high engagement may also be evident when students take the initiative to raise questions, contribute to group tasks, and help peers. So serious engagement, however, often lacks demonstrable forms. So with the engagement, this is where we want to see the learners on task. Learners doing with enthusiasm that they are doing their work. Learners have the initiative to even raise questions in class. And you see, if they have high engagement, the teacher doesn't even come in to come and demonstrate. It is the learners themselves who actually look for, let's say, questions, look for information that they can even discuss in the classroom. So high engagement, they are always engaged. Don't sit idle for you to come and tell them, go and do this. No, they are always looking for something that they can work with. Then we have high expectations. High expectations. So expectations are high when teachers communicate the expectation that all members of the class learn important knowledge and skills that are challenging for them. So students are encouraged and students are encouraged and recognized for taking conceptual or other risks in learning. Again, expectations are high when students at all levels are expected and try to master challenging work, whether the challenge is intellectual, whether it is physical or performance-based. The coding skill for this element emphasizes that the element of high expectations is not about how many students are participating in the lesson, but about how many students are participating in the challenging work. Okay, so high expectation, we are looking at how students can do the work that they have been given. So teachers don't expect learners to just complete the work, but teachers actually look out for how learners can do the work that they have given them, which is challenging. Then we have social support. Social support. All these things are from the quality learning environment. They are elements of the quality learning environment. Social support. So classroom high in social support for student learning encourage all students to try hard and risk failure in a climate of mutual respect. Classrooms high in social support are characterized by teachers and student behaviors, comments and actions that encourage and value effort, participation, and the expression of one's views in the pursuit of learning. Or if disagreement or conflict occurs in the classroom, it is resolved in a constructive way for all concerned. The teacher has the responsibility for setting the tone in the classroom by creating and maintaining a mutually respectful environment. So with the social support, this one, in the classroom, there is mutual respect. And you see, they support each other in this classroom. And when there is even conflict in this classroom, they try and find a constructive way of solving that problem. And we are saying that it is the teacher's responsibility for setting the tone in the classroom by creating and maintaining a mutually respectful environment. Good. Any question or contribution on this?
No, please can continue.
Okay. Then we have scaffolding. Scaffolding. As for teachers, I know you have been using scaffolding a lot. So scaffolding is when a teacher begins the lesson by modeling the skill, and then slowly he or she withdraws his assistance, allowing the students to take responsibility for their own learning. And you see, this one normally happens at the beginning or at the introduction of a lesson. The teacher tries to introduce the lesson, and then gradually, as students understand, he or she withdraws. And it means to encourage someone to build upon the good quality of their achievement. And these outcomes that would be charged are clearly spelled out. Teachers make regular reference to the criteria in their teaching to signal to students the purpose and importance of what they are learning, and use the agreed upon criteria to assess students' work. Now, the teachers tell what they are going to learn to students in advance and what is expected of them. So, the teachers, in order to use the scaffolding method, he or she tells the students what they are going to learn, and then the students will do preparation on that, so that when they come to class, the teacher introduces the topic. Gradually, you see that he or she would be withdrawing, and then as time goes on, you see that the learners will be able to do it on their own, and the teacher sits back to watch what they are doing. And then we have student self-regulation. Student self-regulation. So high self-regulation is evident when the lesson proceeds without interruption, and when students demonstrate autonomy and initiative in relation to their own behavior in ways that allow the class to get on with learning. There is virtually no time spent or need for time to be spent in the lesson on disciplining student behavior or regulating student movement. Ensures activities are purposeful and interesting with clear goals that students perceive to be worthwhile. So with the student self-regulation, as we have looked at, the student themselves do things on their own, autonomy. There is no time for the teacher to come and tell them, keep quiet, or the teacher to come and discipline them. They know what they are supposed to do. Okay, so they themselves, they regulate their behavior themselves. And then we have the student direction. Classroom with high student direction see exercising control over one or more of the following aspects of a lesson. So we have choice of activities, the time spent on the activity, pace of the lesson, criteria by which they will be assessed. So all these things are what the teacher should let them know. You give them the direction. How should they move? What should they do? You don't spend like when and even in your teaching. When you are teaching, the choice of activities that you bring in, the time that you are supposed to spend on the activities, and then even the pace of your teaching also speaks. And the criteria by which they will be assessed. So when students assume responsibility for the activities in which they engage and or how they complete them, the activities are likely to be student-centered. That is group work, individual research, and practical investigation. Teachers will have different scope to prove opportunities for students to exercise control over these four aspects, depending on the subject they are teaching or the stage of their students. Any question or contribution? Do we have questions? Okay. All right. So we will move to the third dimension. That is the significance. The third dimension, which is significance. As we said, the quality teaching model. The quality teaching model has these, has the three main dimensions. We have the intellectual quality learning environment, and then the significance. We have looked at the intellectual quality, we have looked at the quality learning environment, and now we are going to look at the significance. So this is when students can see the relevance of what they learn, and this can be achieved in a number of ways. The first one is the background knowledge. Significance, we have the background knowledge. High background is evident when lesson provides students with opportunities, or they take opportunities to make connections between their knowledge and experiences and substance of the lesson. Background knowledge may include prior school knowledge, or it may include out of school knowledge, such as local knowledge, cultural knowledge, personal experience, and knowledge of media or popular culture. And that the main focus of this element is whether or not the background knowledge of students in the class is valued and linked with the substance of the lesson. So you are teaching them. What you are teaching them, is it linked with the substance of the lesson? What will they gain? What they know already, and what they are learning now. Is it okay? Is it going to help them? Is it that I'm doing a different program, or I did a different program and now I have come, I want to do another program? Has it got any importance for me afterwards? Or it will end there at the funeral, or it will end there. So that is it. Are they taking it to where they are supposed to take it? They have the background. What they are learning, is it okay for them to continue? Or what they are doing right now, is it something that will let them do something different? They have knowledge and experience somewhere. Now they are coming to, so you are teachers already. Where are you teaching? What's your background that you have? What you are coming to learn right now? Is it okay? Will it help you? Is it significant, or is it okay? Is it important for you to learn it, or you are supposed to change it and do something else? So that is the background. And then we have the cultural knowledge. The cultural knowledge. We are saying that cultural knowledge is high, and there is an understanding, valuing, and acceptance of the traditions, beliefs, skills, knowledge, language, practices, and protocols of diverse social groups. So the cultural knowledge is high when the learner recognizes and values claims to the knowledge from multiple social groups in an authentic, detailed, and profound manner. So different social groupings are identified in relation to the dominant Ghanaian and the Western culture, and are distinguished by characteristics such as socioeconomic status, even their gender or their ethnicity, their age, their language, and even religion. So the element of cultural knowledge concerns the recognition and valuing of the knowledge of different social groups. So you value, this is our culture. We have Western culture, we have the Ghanaian culture. What we are learning, will it help us as Ghanaians? And when we move to another place, is it going to help? So if you understand and you value and even accept the traditions and beliefs of diverse social groups, then it can actually help. Then we have the knowledge integration. Knowledge integration. So high knowledge integration is identifiable when meaningful connections are made between different topics and or different subjects. For instance, when students address these themes or problems with knowledge from multiple or subject areas, knowledge integration will be high. Integration of knowledge, understanding, and skills from other subject areas will enhance learning only if it contributes to the understanding of core concepts. Give me a few seconds, I'm coming. Okay. So, yes, so as we said, knowledge integration. With the knowledge integration, this is you having learned something in different subjects, okay, and being able to make meaningful connections by um, bringing the topics together, learning something, and then you understanding it and drawing some conclusions from those subjects and being able to even solve problems out of that. So that is the knowledge integration, bringing the topics or the themes that you have learned of different subjects together. As I said, when students address themes or problems with knowledge from multiple subjects areas, knowledge integration will be high. You have learned something and you are trying to bring ideas from different subject areas. And then we have inclusivity. High inclusivity is evident when all students in the classroom from all cultural or social backgrounds participate in the public work of the class, and when their contributions are taken seriously and valued. And then we are also saying that high inclusivity is evident when the classroom is free from negative forms of prejudice and discrimination, and thus all individuals, regardless of their social grouping, feel encouraged to participate fully in the lesson. The element of the inclusivity refers specifically to recognizing and then valuing students from diverse social groups who are actually what in class. So when everybody in class participates, we don't discriminate when wherever they are coming from. So irrespective of their social groupings, they feel encouraged and they also feel part of the lesson. Mm. You give work and you make everybody work. Then we have connectedness. So high connectedness is evident when learning has value and meaning beyond the classroom and then the school. So lessons exhibit high connectedness through addressing either a public problem or actual experiences or situations that students will confront. So high connectedness is also evident when there are attempts to interact with an audience beyond the classroom by communicating knowledge to others,
Move from my hand.
including or within the school, and then advocating solutions to social problems, and then providing assistance to people or creating performance or products and exploring their utilitarian or aesthetic value. So, what they have learned in school, will they be able to use it outside? Has it got anything there, outside there? Is it relevant? What they are learning, they must go beyond the classroom in the school. And you see, when they are out there and they are able to solve societal problems, then we are saying that there is high what connectedness. What they have learned, they have been able to use it outside. When they also attempt to interact with an audience beyond their classroom, then it means there is what high connectedness. Then we have the narrative. We have the narrative. The narrative is the use of, or the use of narrative is high when stories are written. So narrative, you use stories, are also told. And when you read them, or viewed or listened to help illustrate or bring to life the knowledge that students are addressing in the classroom. So narrative may include personal stories, biographies, historical accounts, case studies, literary and then cultural texts and performances. So narrative does not increase significance if the stories used are unconnected to the substance of the lesson or unproductive in terms of student learning. Narrative may be high if there is only one narrative present in the lesson, as long as the narrative enhances the significance of the lesson. Now, the lesson may employ narrative as content. And sometimes you can even use narrative as a content or as a process of getting where you are supposed to get to, when students are writing or even telling stories. So that is it. Any question or contribution from the beginning up to this time on the qualities, the quality teaching motto? Any question, contribution up to this point? Any question or contribution? Do we have any question or contribution? Or example?
Madam, question.
Yes.
Okay, so actually, from where we've gotten to the new curriculum, they said now we should, in the form of lecture to the children, we should not spoon feed them. So at the GHS level, does it apply to SHS as well? We should be
I
the
think you should have a
facilitator to
lecture.
guide. We should guide them. We should not spoon
Okay,
feed them.
facilitate. Okay.
Yes, we should facilitate.
Yes, so
So
SHS is the same thing. Now, what they want the learners to do is to be able to actually work on their own more. And when you are there, you'll be there as a guide. So let the learner do more of the work, because as we have even looked at, if he or she says she has deep knowledge, she has deep understanding, problematic knowledge, and the rest, how is she applying it? To understand. So why should the teacher do the work for you? If you understand, then you should be able to synthesize. You should be able to explain. If you are not able to do it, the teacher is only there to what? Guide you to understand. Any other?
but madam, with this, it's not.
Yes.
It's let me say it's not working.
Okay.
Because in our education system where I find myself, the district I find myself in, you even give topics to children to go and research on, but they will come with nothing. So you have to again teach them, not to guide them. So with this, I don't know how it's going to be, because most of the children, even when you give them homework, they will tell you that they didn't get anybody to help them. There's a whole lot, and by all means, you find some at the SHS level too. So in that case, what are you supposed to do?
Okay, this is to the whole class. He's saying that generally you are supposed to give homework, you are supposed to guide learners to learn. And now you even giving them homework, you tell you nobody help them. So what do you think? He says he wants us to help him to take care of these learners. How do we help him?
Madam, I
Yes.
think this new curriculum is helping those who are in the cities more than those who are in the village. Because if you give the person homework, sometimes they will tell you to go and search. When you go to some villages, they don't even have an internet so that they can search. So for me, I think where you think you are and they can't provide those things, you spoon feed them. If you want to go strictly by what they are saying, you will not reach where you want to reach, and the children too will not understand it. So I think the location that you find yourself will also determine how you teach and how the method that you use to teach. That's mine. Thank you.
Okay, that is fine. Any other? Any other person to help our brother?
Okay, madam.
Yes.
Yeah, so just as Madam Gifty said, it deals with where you are, but I will tell my brother set to continue the system he is operating. You give it to them when they go.
Yes, I'm listening.
I think it's network.
Okay. Oh, so come again. It looks like you at some point went off. So come again.
Okay, is it now okay?
Yes, now it's better.
Okay, so I was saying that Seth can go ahead and then continue with the system he is operating, because that is what we are supposed to do. So give it to them, and you can as well pay them. So far as others have done it, you can ask them to go to the nearest houses and then go and try it, because if you don't do it at all, it will also create issues. So let them practice that system, and I think it is helping in some areas where the internet is good. It is helping, and you can as well have parents who complain, but that is how the system is supposed to operate. So I think he can do both sides.
Okay. Okay. Any other person? Okay. All right. So, you see, looking at where we find ourselves in this part of the world, we cannot get things as we wish them to be. So, as the two people have said, we cannot strictly, even those in the urban areas, they cannot also go strictly as it is in there. So, as we are saying, if you see that genuinely your place, they need help, they cannot even have access to internet and the rest, maybe, and you have access, then probably, as we have said, you just have to help them. But if you decide to go strictly by what they have said, then I think there will be a problem. So maybe if there are textbooks or something, if that they can research, then maybe they can. But if it has to do with the internet and the rest, and it is not working, then we will say that kindly assist them. Kindly assist them to be doing. But sometimes these people too, after you have taught them, you can be making them do assessment and so that you can use it. There are so many ways that you can help them. If, let's say, they go to school, you give them homework, and when they go and bring it because they didn't even have time to do it. You can change your style, do it class exercise and the rest, so that when they come, they will do it in the house. And sometimes you can even have days that you let them learn in groups so that their peers can be helping each other. they can be learning in groups that can help them, other than you giving it to them, they sending it home and then bringing it back. But if they are in groups and they are helping each other, I think that one too can help. Or sometimes you can even be pairing. You can even be pairing those who are good. You identify those who are weak, and then you put those who are good into those groups so that they can help themselves. I think if you do that, it wouldn't be bad too. There's any other question? We are done with this models of effective teaching. So we'll look at another topic. So if we have questions or contribution on this one, quickly let's look at it before we move on.
Madam, I have simple question, which is a little outside this one. It's bothering me. I just want to so that we see.
Okay.
There is to be filled for teaching practice, and I want to find out this course we are doing, is it only restricted to the classroom, or you can also use it in the contemporary world? And if so, why only? Go away.
Well, you know what? Your line went off.
My
So
network.
can you come again? So come again. Can you come again?
You do that practice.
Hello. Can you come again? Oh, okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, madam, I was asking, apart from teaching, this program can it lead to other contemporary jobs?
The BEd accounting that you are doing.
Yes.
Class, what do you think? He's asking that apart from teaching, you can use the BEd accounting elsewhere. Is it only for classroom? Is it only for classroom?
No, madam.
Okay, so what will you say? Why is it not for the classroom alone?
Madam, you can use it in other contemporary world, but the problem is because we are doing it in education, that's why most of the subject that we are doing are related to education. But if you look at some of the courses, they are purely accounting courses that those who are even doing the head in accounting as a fourth subject are also doing it. So you can apply it. Just that when you get into any office, they have their system. You will learn, and then as the same thing that you are learned is what you are learning here. So I don't think there's any difference.
Okay. Or any other person to help. Okay, so you see, for instance, we are doing the ed accounting, and we have most of the accounting courses that we are reading. In addition to that, we have education. So we fit perfectly into the word, as our sister said. We are learning accounting courses. So if we decide not to teach, we can go. If we want to teach, we have the education aspect, which will let us teach and teach well. Uh-huh. So what we are doing perfectly, it can help us. And surprisingly, even with this one, what we even just treated right now, look at the significance or the others. When you are in a group, you are learning in a place and there is inclusivity. People think of themselves as one group. Everybody matters there. It is here that we are learning. But when you go to a workplace, you apply it there. In the classroom, you see yourself that there shouldn't be a discrimination. And when you have an environment like that, you see things move on well. Aha. So that is what we are saying. That um, you doing the education and other subjects doesn't prevent you from doing any other work. But specifically, you are paying this because you want to be accounting teachers. You are prospective accounting teachers. But if you decide in a way that you don't want to teach, you can still use it. But right now, we are treating you to be what accounting teachers. But at some point in time, if you decide that you don't want to be a teacher again, then you still fit in because you have the content. Mhm. All right. Thank you.
Madam, let me add something to it.
Just add.
Yeah. I was in the classroom like this, then I got the privilege to come and handle an office in accounting aspect.
Okay.
That led me to do this course.
Okay.
So you might not be in the position now, but the time will come, you get the opportunity. That time you apply the knowledge that you are having now to it.
Okay. That is. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let me pull this one down. Share the other
Set, you are making noise, so set.
Okay, so we have planning and preparing to teach. Planning and preparing to teach. So as I told you here, the main focus of this program is to train you as accounting teachers. The main focus of this program is to train you as accounting teachers. So we are going to look at how, as an accounting teacher, you plan and then you go and teach. We are coming to look at planning and preparing to teach. What are the things that you need to do as a teacher before you can step in the classroom and teach? That is what we are coming to look out for now. Okay. So we are saying that planning, when you see, when you plan, sometimes you see, I'm planning of going to this place, or I'm planning to do this. Why do you say you are planning to do that? And you don't just get up from your bed and then you start moving. You get up and then you start moving, you are going. Wherever you get, then you stop. No, we don't do that. before we even go somewhere, now that we wanted to even join the Zoom, we did something, we were planning. If you have so many things on your table, what you do is, okay, let me schedule. I want to do this one on Saturday, then Sunday before we have 4 hours lecture, then I'll do this. That is planning. You want to know how things will move for you. You're not just doing you are not going to start anyhow, end anyhow. No. So the same thing applies to teaching. When you are going to teach, in order for you to get the good results or teach very well, you need to plan. You need to plan very well. I'm coming, let me see. So before you teach, that is what you're supposed to do. And planning will give you the direction and order you in your teaching so that you can attain that teaching in a better way. So that is planning. Now, there are some key there is key, the key to effective planning for instruction is to decide in advance what competencies and skills should be stressed, the appropriate amount of time to devote to different parts of the lessons, materials to be used and how they will be used, the methods and procedures to be included in the daily lesson. So as a teacher, this is what you ask yourself for, because you're saying that the planning gives you direction in order to teaching that can be attained in no way other. And before you can teach, these are the questions that you ask. What competencies? When we ask what competencies and skills should be stressed, it means the objective of what you are going to do. Then the appropriate amount of time to devote to different parts of the lesson. So the lesson is that you know the objective, the whole lesson. What time should you give to each part? When it comes to introduction, how many minutes should I give? When it comes to the delivery, how many minutes should I give? Then again, we have the materials that you're going to use to teach. If you are teaching any topic in your area, there are materials there that you need to bring that will show how learners are going to achieve that, or learners are going to learn. Then the methods and procedures that you are going to use will count. How are you going to teach them? Which procedure will you use? Are you going to use lecture method? Are you going to use question and answer? What method will you use? So planning usually begins with taking an overview of the needs of students in a particular classroom and then making a tentative list of objectives for the academic year, and you deciding what is to be taught on a daily basis. So you make the objectives, or you prepare the objectives for the whole year, but it is your duty to decide what is to be taught every day. So what do you do? What do you do in planning? The first thing that you do is that we are saying that you need to establish where the learners are. When we say establish where the learners are, we mean you, the teacher, making sure to know where the learners have actually reached before you took over or you are going to take over. Or establishing where learners are is maybe their level or the topic that they even completed that you are continuing, or where they have reached. Do they have any prerequisites that they have or that they have done? So that is where you can say you are establishing where learners are. Again, we are saying that no plan can be made unless adequate information is available to indicate where students are, what they already know, and what they can do. Now, teachers need to know the approximate learning potential of their students. You can find out where your students are by one, taken from their previous teacher. So let's say you took charge from another teacher. You were not the original teacher before they came to your class. So how do you know where they are? You check from that previous teacher what has been taught prior to taking the class. Again, you check student exercise book. So you see that they have exercise book that the teachers have marked. So you check from them. And then you check assessment data if available. So if they have this, the report cards and the rest, that's data. If they have it, you check where they have gotten to. And there are certain data that are in there in school. You can go and then you find out where the learners have actually gotten to. Then again, you question students on aspect of topic that they are supposed to have covered. So you ask them questions on some topics that you think this one they should have covered before coming to your class. So you ask them questions. And then testing students to provide a general idea of the level for which instruction must be planned. Now, the weaknesses that must be corrected and the amount of progress that must be expected. Sometimes you test their general idea. Then talking to students too. Sometimes you don't, it is not a test. You are not finding out from the teachers, but you are at least talking to them, and then as you converse, all these will come out. You know where the learners are. Aside that, aside establishing where the learners are, the next thing that you do is you identify the learning objectives you are going to teach. You are planning. You have established where learners are. The next thing is for you to get the objectives for them. So identify learning objectives. Once you have established where they are, the next thing is to decide where they need to go, what students need to know and be able to do at the end of the lesson or a series of lessons. Now, objectives are statements of what the teacher hopes to accomplish within a given period. They describe behaviors, preferably measurable ones. And then also we say objectives provide direction for all further planning and teaching. All further planning and teaching. Then, aside identifying their learning objectives, you identify the teaching and learning resources. Identify the teaching and learning resources. After objectives have been set, the next task is to select suitable learning materials that will actually would support what you are coming to teach. And you see, all these materials, it can include visual aids, audio visual aids, real objects, and then maybe a resource person. Any question or contribution up to this point? Any question? Any question up to this point? We looked at planning teaching. What we just looked at is planning teaching. You want to teach and you are planning. So that is the first thing that we did, planning. How do you plan for your teaching? We said you establish where the learners are. After establishing where they are, you look for objectives that can support your teaching. And then you also look for, or you identify the teaching and learning resources. Any question or contribution? Any question? Do we have any question?
No, for me, there's no question.
Okay. All right. Then I
Hello,
think
madam.
yes.
Yes, sometimes some of the children who so you ask them, did you learn this? They will say no. So you have to go back and start everything, even when they have learned it. Then you realize that in your absence, another person will come and they will do the same thing. That nothing has been taught. And looking at what we are learning, the planning and other things is so good. But sometimes to come by the materials to make the thing effective, then they will tell you to improvise. Improvise. So everything is around you. But here is the case. You realize that everything is around us. Recently, they brought Quaker. They brought Quaker, and Quaker brought some materials, and you realize that, if some of these materials are around for you to use in your instruction and what have you, you will see that things wouldn't be the way it is today. So we need to entreat our leaders at the higher level. As when you people talk, they listen. You as part of the research work, you tell them to do a lot of provisions so that we work with it. For some time now, when the new curriculum was enrolled, the junior high school were not having any prepared government textbooks for it to be used. Then you improvise, as they are saying, to get your own books, and they will say that it is not approved by NACA. It is not approved by NACA. So how do you treat some of these things? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So is it a question, or do you want us to answer? It was a suggestion. The last part.
Yes, these are some of the occurrences.
Okay,
Some
so
of
is
the issues. Yes.
Okay, is a rhetorical question. That's fine. So as you said, some of these things, when you look at them, you ask yourself, are these people really part of what you are doing? But this is what is happening, so we need to do our best. Okay. So we'll look at the lesson plan preparation itself. We have looked at the planning, how we actually know, and then how we prepare for the lesson. So we'll look at the lesson plan itself. So with the lesson plan, there are things that you need to bring in the lesson plans for it to be complete. What we just looked at is what you want to know, and then you can do your lesson plan well. So that one was only the planning teaching. But we are now coming to look at what the lesson plan has. So the key components of the lesson plan, so that if you are writing your lesson plan, you don't forget. Of course, I've put in something on your page. We used to have a format, but it has been changed. So the format is what I have sent to you. The format is what I've sent to you, but we'll look at it later. But we are saying that the lesson plan has these components: explicit objectives. There can never be any lesson plan that does not have objectives. Or as people say, indicators. There can never be a lesson plan without indicators or objectives. Because what do you want the learners to do? What do you want them to do? Why are you teaching them? Why are you giving them that topic? And that becomes the objective, the means to the end. So all instructional plans should begin with clear, explicit statements summarizing what the teacher seeks to accomplish during a given period of time. They should be realistic, or they will force an on-the-spot decision as to what should be taught during a given period, which defeats the purpose of planning. So all instructional plans should begin with clear, explicit statements summarizing what the teacher seeks to accomplish, and that is the objectives. The teacher wants the learners to do this. So those statements, we will let everybody know what the teacher seeks to accomplish during that period. And that statement should be realistic, or it will create a problem. Okay. And you see, people will go and stand there and then say something that they have not actually thought of. Again, in the lesson plan, when you are preparing the lesson plan, there should be materials. You need to have materials. So as lesson plans are constructed, teachers should decide upon the most suitable, appropriate materials to help accomplish the exact purposes and decide how these materials could be used effectively. And the lesson plan should have a list of materials in the order in which they will be used. So in your lesson plan, you don't just bring any material at all, no. A material that is suitable, appropriate for the lesson. And when you are bringing it to, you are supposed to make sure that they follow in the order in which they will be used. So you indicate where you are going to use that material. Then we have methods and procedures. Methods and procedures. I'm saying that a lesson plan should include suggested methods and procedures, and teachers should adhere closely to these unless the responses of students indicate that other methods and procedures would do better. So in the lesson plan too, as we are saying, you need to put in methods that you are going to use in teaching there. And it can only change when probably something came up and then you've seen that there's another method that you can use effectively. Then you are saying that learning activities, that is the teacher and student activities comprising the introductory, developmental, and culminating activities that, when arranged into a series of daily lessons, will lead to the desired learning outcome. So any question or contribution up to this point? Then we continue. If you don't ask questions, if you don't contribute, you might think that you understand. And when time flies, you see that it will all be gone. So it is better you talk, you ask questions, and then you give your own contribution to as well. So I'm asking whether you have questions or contributions to make. Okay, so if you don't have questions, we are moving on. So we are looking at.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Hello, doc.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, so the materials. You said in the lesson notes you have to let's say I am going to use so and so materials. This. I have to also in the lesson note tell them or say what I am going to use it for, or know how it will be used.
Yes. Yes.
But I think that comes to, I was thinking that will come to the procedure.
Which procedure? Yes, so we are saying that in the lesson plan, these are components that you can't miss out. Component that you can't take out of your lesson plan. So you need to have objectives, you need to have materials, and then the procedure and then the methods that you are going to use should also come. Do you get it?
Yes.
It is not this time we are not moving according to not systematic movement, but we are saying that the lesson plan, every good lesson plan should have this. In your lesson plan, if you don't have an objective there, what are you telling us? What do you want the learners to do by the time you are done teaching them? If that thing is not in the lesson plan, then you are lacking something. Again, the materials that you are going to use, the teaching learning materials, or whatever you are going to use, let it reflect in the lesson plan. If you leave it out, we will not know. So you put it in the lesson plan, And then, as you are saying, it is procedure. So at the rightful stage, if let's say stage 1, you're going to use lecture method, then you indicate that you are going to use that method there. So this is what we are saying. The component, the lesson plan should have this. So if it doesn't have, then something is missing. Any other question? So should we continue? All right.
Madam,
Now,
please, the question.
okay.
I was looking through the lesson plan that you've sent. I've seen a column where we have.
We have not treated it. I just sent it to you. We have not treated it.
Oh, okay.
We'll look at the lesson plan itself. We have not treated it. We are only looking at things that we need to see in the lesson plan. As I said,
Okay.
the objectives or the what do you call it? The indicators is the same thing. But and then the materials that you use, they should come. And even the method that you're going, is it a question and answer? What is it? All these are supposed to come in the lesson plan. But the lesson plan itself, we are now taking them one after the other. So when we get there, since you are on the field, I want more contributions. Okay.
Madam, thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, so let's look at the scheme of work. When we say scheme of work, what is it? What is the scheme of work? What is the scheme of work? The scheme of, we say scheme of work. What is it? Scheme of work. Let's discuss it, what the scheme of work is. I believe we have heard it before, scheme of work.
So the scheme of work is a plan that a teacher does even before.
Madam, a scheme of
No,
work
I
is
didn't get it. Let her come, then you join. What did you, I think your line went off. So what did you say in the first place? The lady who spoke first.
Madam, please, I was saying that is the plan that a teacher does before doing his or her lesson notes. And it combines the topics. It's a combination of the topics or the topics that he or she will be treating for the term or semester, which has been divided into weeks or into weeks to be treated with the learners.
Okay. All right. Then the other person who wanted to talk to you can come.
So, madam, I wanted to say the scheme of work is a planned activity of a teacher before a lesson is being taught. The planned activity, what the teacher is going to teach, what topics is he going to teach, where he or she will get his or her reference from. So you have to plan everything. That's why it's the scheme of work. Or yes.
Okay. That is fine. Yes. All right. Do we have any other person?
Hello, okay, madam.
Yes.
When we talk of a scheme of work, it breaks the syllabus into units and it shows how the topics will be taught, or yeah, and the resources that will be needed to teach that lesson. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So, yes, as you have already said, the scheme of work is the plan of what is taught during every lesson throughout the academic year. So, the academic year is there, and then you bring out what you are going to teach throughout that year. And it is the breakdown of the various topics into weeks for teaching purpose. And then the scheme of work allows the teacher to take one topic or theme within a week. So it allows the teacher to take one topic or theme within a week. And it is usually meant to cover a term. It is usually meant to cover a term. And it helps the teacher to know what to teach in a particular week from for the whole term. So every week, this is what I'm going to teach for the whole term. A scheme of work will guide you. And it also allows the teacher to have a systematic presentation of his lesson and also makes room for the logical arrangement of the topics in the class. So that is the scheme of work. So without the scheme of work to guide the teacher, the likelihood that the instruction will be haphazard is very high. It is a scheme of work that makes teaching what of a quality standard. Uh-huh. Now we have steps in constructing a scheme of work. You need to check if your place, that is your school, you have a pro forma, that is, you have something that is there that you are all following to write. So they may have a special way, or maybe a special way of writing it. The school in which you are, they have a special way of doing it. And or they have a template that you can follow, and which will make your life easier because you have something that they have already planned for you to follow. And then you check other people's scheme of work. Ideally, look at a scheme of work left by a predecessor. So if somebody left before you came and the person has a scheme of work, that one too can be your guide and will help you. And then if creating a scheme of work from scratch, then create a Word document and put a table in it, or create an Excel document. You can actually give yourself about 5 columns, dates, lesson, content, and the rest. Then begin by breaking down the year into chunks. How many modules do you need to teach? Let's say 3 modules break down into 1 per term. So if you make 3 modules, it means you are going to do 4 months, 4 months. So like how the students come to school, you have an academic year. So that is why I have made it 3. And then you allow yourself a couple of weeks at the end of for the revision and then assessment. and allow a week at the start for introduction stuff. Yes. Then decide how long you will need for each of the chunks. If the model is lasting one term, then you would have about 2 to 3 per chunk. So now, with each chunk, decide what lessons you could do. Try to offer a variety of practical, theoretical, group work, single work, and teacher-led work. So do this for every chunk and for every model, and fill in the bare bones into the lesson development column on your document. And then now you think about what resources you will need. So as you are doing this, now look at the resources and fill in that one too. And then do not forget that you are trying to promote equality and diversity through your teaching. And this one, the new curriculum has actually stated it. Anytime that you are doing it, you do inclusivity and the rest. And then the assessment column can be filled with how you will know after each lesson and that information has sunk in. So this may be through questions and answers written or by listening to their conversation. Okay, so this is it. How to go about the scheme of work. Any question or contribution? Unfortunately, the lesson plan, what I have on the slide is the old one. I need to take it off and give you the new one. So, but before we go to the actual lesson plan, we'll still talk about what the functions of a lesson plan are, and then we'll look at a few other things. So, what is the lesson plan? We are saying that the lesson plan contains the relevant content that the teacher wants the students to grasp at the end of the lesson. It also contains the objectives of the lesson. That is what the students should be able to do at the end of the lesson. And in addition, we are saying that the lesson plan contains the various activities that the teacher and the students should engage in order to achieve the objectives set out in the lesson plan. And the teaching materials that the teacher can use to enhance effective teaching and learning are also considered in the lesson plan preparation. Then the lesson plan is therefore a comprehensive plan meant to guide the teacher in the delivery of the lesson. So we're saying that the lesson plan is not just there. It is there to guide the teacher in the delivery of his lesson, and then it also contains activities for the teacher and the student. Materials that they are going to use is there. And then the objectives that the teacher will use for the learners are also there. We have the lesson plan preparation, which takes two main forms. We have the mental preparation and the actual writing of the lesson plan. The mental preparation and the actual writing of the lesson plan. The mental preparation has to do with the mind. You preparing your mind or psyche your mind that this is what I'm going to do. How do I prepare? I need to read. You need to do reading, you research. So that what you have written, now you have the lesson, well, she has got a lesson plan. But what will be what the things that you speak about or the things that you are going to help the learners with. So mental preparation. You make sure that you do something good. Know your content. You don't go and then stand in front of the class and you are fumbling. You don't know what to do. With even the mental preparation, some of the questions that you are even bringing to ask the learners, you need to prepare and see the kind of questions that you even ask. Then we have the actual writing of the lesson. So the actual writing of the lesson is what we are saying that it is the, let's say, the format that I've given you against the new curriculum and the old one that we were doing. So how you sit down, use literature to back your points, get sources to back whatever you are writing in there. You sit down, how many minutes am I going to use? What will I use? What methods will I use? And the rest, the materials that you are going to use. All these things will come in the actual writing of the lesson plan. There are some functions of the lesson plan. The lesson plan is not just there, we want to write a lesson plan, then everybody's writing the lesson plan. There are functions of the lesson plan. One, it serves as a point of reference for the teacher and other educational authorities. It serves as an evidence of a teacher preparation for work. It enables other teachers to stand in for you. So if you are not there and you couldn't make it, so you have given your note to or lesson plan to somebody to stand in for you. The lesson plan in your notes will let anybody at all who wish to stand in for you to teach because everything is in there. Then again, it enables the teacher to have a systematic presentation. Yes. So if you do your lesson plan, it will guide you to have a systematic way of presenting your work so that no ambiguity, everything will be fine. Then it gives a change to heed of schools to see what teachers under them intend to teach and offer the necessary avoidance. Yeah, so with this, we also say that it gives the heads of the school chance to know what the teachers are actually teaching the learners in school. Then it ensures the inclusion of important facts or points as well as interesting details or illustration materials a teacher would use. So all the facts that are supposed to come in the lesson plan, you actually making sure that you have brought all these things will enable you to teach and teach well. Any question or contribution on what we have done so far? Any question or contribution? Do we have any question? Do we have questions? We don't have questions. Any question up to this point?
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Madam, sorry, my network went off. The lesson plan preparation takes two main forms.
Yes.
Mental preparation and actual writing of the lesson plan. I didn't get that one. My network went off.
Okay, so it takes two main forms: the mental preparation and then the actual lesson plan itself. You see, the mental preparation has to do with the mind. You say you are going to teach accounting. Have you yourself, have you prepared? What are you going to teach the learners? What are you going to give them that we should expect? So, if it is this topic that you are going to treat, then you need to read on it. So that is the mental preparation. You need to study, learn the content well, because that is what you are going to deliver in the classroom. So you need to do something about it. Even the questions that you ask in class, you need to even rehearse how you are going to do all those things. Make sure you do it. So that is the mental preparation. You don't just do the actual writing. So the actual writing is you looking at the format and then putting in the necessary things that are supposed to come. But the mental one, we are not leaving the content. The teacher, how do you deliver for everybody to understand? Then we also looked at the functions of the lesson plan. We are saying that it serves as a reference that anybody that comes in, oh, I taught. Who knows that you have taught? What shows that you have taught? You pick the book and then the CISO will come and check you have taught. Again, it shows that as a teacher, you have actually prepared to go to the classroom. Again, it also enables other teachers, if you cannot go to the class, any teacher who is around and would want to teach for you can take your lesson plan and quickly stand in for you. Also, it enables the teacher to have a systematic presentation. If you have actually planned, you see that everything will flow. You don't just pick some of the things, pieces and bits from here, from there. No, it makes it flow. Again, it helps the heads or the school heads, the headmasters, to know those in their offices, to know what you're actually doing in your rooms, your various classrooms. They will know. And then it also ensures the inclusion of important facts or points as well as interesting details or illustration materials the teacher would use. Are you okay? This is where we end.
Yes, thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Okay. So we are going to look at.
Madam, simple question.
Yes, go ahead.
This mental preparation,
Yes.
does it only relate to the teacher who is going to do the instruction? or the children also need to prepare themselves mentally, physically, and everything?
Okay, so with the lesson plan, we are actually concentrating on the teacher because you are the one going to teach. As for the learners, you can tell them to prepare, you can give them reading materials or something. But with this, we are looking at the teacher. How prepared are you to go to the classroom? Mm, uh-huh. So we are saying that the teacher has something for the learners. So make sure you work at it, plan it well by giving more information to you yourself, the teacher, revising, and then going to the class to teach. So it is more or less more centered on the teacher because it has to do with the lesson plan. And it is the teacher who actually prepares the lesson plan. It is not the student. So the teacher would have to prepare well. Yeah. Any other? Are we okay?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. So you remember last week I gave you an assignment on the lesson plan. So I will take them. I will take them. So we are going to, let me quickly switch because what I have in my slides is the old lesson plan that has the unit name, lesson, and the rest. So quickly, let me switch and then. Ikuya, what are you doing? And with this one, I've shared it in your. I've shared it on the page, so maybe you can check. And I think here you can see it. So this is the new one that they have given us. It looks simple, but nothing much has changed. But as we have seen, I think most of you have been using this. Or hello, hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, hello, madam. Yeah, I know most of you have been using it, so it will make our work easy. So the new one, as we can all see, we have the subjects. That is the financial accounting or any other subject that you are teaching. So let's say at SHS, we have financial accounting,
Yes.
and then yes,
That's
and then we have
important.
the hello.
Uh,
Then we have the week. Which week are we in? You see, we are following the scheme of work. So you see, as we said, the scheme of work would guide the lesson plan. So we look at the week that we are in. If it is, let's say, week 3, we put there the week 3. And then we have the duration. How many minutes have they given us to have the class? If it is 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, it depends on the number of minutes that they have given you. Then you look at the form, then the strand. So the strand will be what? The strand will be what? The topic that you are going to treat. And if you have a subtopic, if you have a subtopic, then that will be your what? Your substrand.
Substrand.
Substrand. And then we'll look at what will be the content standard. The content standard will be what? What will be the content standard? So let's say, for instance, say the topic that we are going to treat, that is the strand that we are going to treat, is financial data analysis. Let's take something like that. If it is financial data analysis, then the substrand can be, let's say, accounting equation. Okay, financial data analysis. Then under that, we are not going to treat the whole thing because the period will not allow us. So we are going to treat accounting equation. Then the content. Okay, so the content standard will be what? To demonstrate knowledge and understanding in the application of the double entry principles to record. I think maybe let me use the one that has something in it to explain. Okay, so that you can follow. I've given you this one, so let me see.
Is it my network?
I don't think it's your network. It's a general thing. Her side is
No,
not coming.
yes, I think she's talking, but it's not coming. So, Coswell, kindly alert her. It seems she's talking.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, so you can't hear?
We nothing at all.
Oh, sorry. So where should I find you?
Right from the beginning.
Your microphone was muted, so
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, I just saw that the microphone was muted. Okay. Oh, okay. So I think from where we started from the subject and the rest, that's part you heard. Where? So you tell me where we couldn't.
We
From
got to the
content standard.
content, and you said you are going to bring something, a prepared one.
Okay. Yes. So I now have it. Okay. So as I said, when you look at the content standard, we are actually looking at the specific knowledge or skills and understandings that students are expected to master at that grade level. Okay, so we know that, as we have seen, what they should be able to demonstrate is knowledge and understanding in the application of the double entry. They have learned double entry principles. So we want to see that they can actually demonstrate or they can apply those skills that they have learned, and they show that they understand. So the deep knowledge that we looked at has come here. The deep understanding is here. So that content standard is that we want to see the deep understanding and then the deep knowledge here. That is all. So if learners have done something on double entry, this is the time for them to show. So after you teaching them, the learners should be able to demonstrate and let us know that they actually have knowledge and understanding in the application of what? The double entry principles to record financial transactions. So that is the content standard. Nothing has changed. Mhm. Then we come to the learning outcomes. Learning outcomes. Learning outcomes. Again, with the learning outcomes, we are saying that it refers to the specific knowledge, skills, and attitude that students are expected to demonstrate upon completing this course or this program. And these outcomes are often measurable and they provide a clear direction for instruction and assessment. So when we look at the outcomes, it actually tells us or it gives us a clear direction for assessment. Let's look at what is here. It says the learning outcomes or outcome is to analyze and record financial transactions in the books of accounts using the double entry principles and extract a trial balance. So this is what it is. They have done double entry. So in applying it, we are saying that the content standard is you being able to use that double entry to record financial transaction. And the outcome is that when everything is done, we want to see that you have analyzed and recorded financial transactions. And it will not end there, but in the books of accounts, whereby you are going to use that double entry principles and then again You use it to what? Extract the trial balance. So that is it. And what are the indicators? As I told you beginning, that the indicators are also the objectives. So what are the indicators that will take us there, the means, indicators that will take us to these points up there that we have mentioned. And we are saying that when we after teaching you this accounting equation, the learner will be able to compute the values of assets, liabilities, and capital using the accounting equation. This one, we are not ending at only the double entry, but here we are saying that you should be able to compute values for assets, liabilities, and capital by using the accounting equation. And then again, we want you to analyze the effect of business transactions on the accounting equation. So you analyze, we said that learning outcome, you should be able to analyze, you should be able to record. So if you are able to analyze, then we want you to analyze the effect of business transactions on the accounting equation. That is the assets, capital, and then the liabilities. Okay. So what are some of the questions that you need? You see, I told you that in the lesson plan preparation, even the questions that you are supposed to ask in class, you put them, you bring them. So what are some of the essential questions that needs to be in the lesson plan? This is it. So for instance, it says, how will you calculate for the value of liability when assets and capital values are provided? So this is understanding it and then application, understanding and application. So the CAS principle comes in, Bloom's taxonomy, understanding it and then you being able to apply. Then what effects will the purchase of a building with cash has on the accounting equation? So analysis and then evaluation. And then how different is trial balance from a ledger? See evaluation. Then how will you extract a trial balance from a given transaction of a business? So all these are questions that you ask. And the questions, you don't just ask any questions. You ask questions based on what you are doing. And you see, the questions that we ask, we use those taxonomies to do it, okay? Whether it is cognitive, affective, psychomotor, and the rest. Then we have the pedagogical strategies. So what strategies? So these, we can say these are the methods that we are going to use. So otherwise, we were saying that the teaching methods that we are going to use. So it is the same as the pedagogical strategies or the 21st century skills and competencies. So the pedagogies and then the skills that we want the learners to exhibit. So the pedagogical strategies, so we build on what others say. So we are not just going to stand in the classroom and say, using the lecture method, no. Now we are saying that we will build on what others say. We are also going to do collaborative learning. The learning that we are going to do will be collaborative. We'll do reflective learning. All these are pedagogical strategies that you are going to use. We are going to talk for learning. We are going to use think, pair, share. Group discussion. We'll do more presentation. And remember, all these should be learner-centered. Now, the curriculum promotes learner-centeredness. So all these are learner-centered. And then we have skills and competencies. What skills do you think the learners should have after you have treated that topic. What skills should they have? One, we are saying they should have critical thinking skills. If they are to analyze, then it is not just mere question and answers or memorizing, no, but we are going into detail. We are going to use what critical thinking skills. When they understand, let them apply, let them synthesize. Okay. We are also going to look at for communication skills. How would they communicate? Team skills, teamwork. We are going to look out for collaborative learning. If they are going to collaborative, then it means teamwork will come in, group discussion, teamwork will come in. Problem solving skills. When we are done, they should be able to solve problems because we introduce problem-based learning. Then creativity, open-mindedness. Don't just wait for them to spoon feed you. You are creative, you are open-minded. Then we have the teaching and learning resources. Teaching and learning resources. What resources will you use in the class? So we have the basic classroom items like the exercise books, the textbooks, the markers, projectors, whiteboard. We have computers, even the computer lab itself. We have pens, rulers, and so on and so forth. And any other resource that you, a teacher, you think can help you in your lesson, you don't forget to bring them along. Then you write the key notes on differentiation. Key notes on differentiation. How do you put them? So key note on the differentiation, you can put something like learners who may struggle with the understanding of assets, maybe liabilities and capital, should be assisted to connect the concepts. So if you have weak learners there, they will be assisted. Okay. And then learners who grasp the understanding of assets, liabilities are given the opportunity to apply their knowledge to compute for values of liabilities when assets and capital. So the differentiation. So the differentiation, we are saying that, you see, we are all not the same. Okay, we are all not the same. So how can you take care of the different abilities of the learners? This is the whole thing. So at this place, we are looking at how you can take care of the different abilities of the learners in the class. So those who are struggling, what can you do to help them? You are going to assist them. Those who grasp the concept early enough, what will you do to help them? So this is what we are saying, that with these people, if they are done, you can continue to give them more problems to solve, at least, so that it can guide them, so that they will not be bored. Because if they are done and they are there, they will just be disturbing. But if you decide to that you are letting the whole class go on, it means those who are struggling to will be left behind. So that is how we are going to take care of all of them in the classroom. And then again, learners who show a high level of understanding of the assets, liabilities, and capital should be able to show the effect of transactions on the accounting using the understanding of what the double entry. So this is it. This is it. So that is how the new curriculum or the new lesson plan has given us. Now we are looking at what do you call it? We are looking at learner-centered. Everything that we are doing, we want it to be around the learner. Everything that we are doing, we want it to be around the learner. Any question or contribution before I continue? Are we okay? Hmm? Are we okay?
Yes, madam.
It looks like today you are not talking. Hmm? As for today, the talking is not coming. Okay, so I'm coming to leave the rest for you to show me. Since most of you are there and you are not talking, it means you already have the ideas. Okay, so you don't have questions. Okay, so building on what others say, I'm coming. Give me a few minutes. I'm coming.
Sorry, the number you dialed is.
Okay, so all right. And somebody was calling me. I was trying to call the person. All right, so let's continue. So we are pedagogical examples. So explain LMC, those who are already into teaching. What is it? Explain LMC. It is there. So you can look at it and explain LSC. Today, I don't like the way we are not talking. So let's explain this point. It is there, so you can look at it and then be explaining. Are we there? Are we there?
Madam, we are with you.
So I said,
We are with you,
let's
fam.
explain this. It looks like today I'm not feeling you well because it looks like I'm the one doing all the talking. You are not asking questions, you are not contributing, and you are quiet.
Madam, we see the senior high this thing is those of us at the basic, for instance, this is looks a new, even though it follows the same procedure, but some of them are new, like where we have gotten to the pedagogical examples. It's a little new, or I don't know. So that's why. But we are with you, pa.
Okay, so that is it. Yes. Mhm. All right. So, but are you using the new one, or you are still using the old lesson plan? Are you using the old one or the new one?
Oh, madam, we are using the new one. Oh,
Oh, okay. But at the basic school or SHS?
no, at the basic school.
Oh, at the basic school. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is why I wanted you, when this one we should be discussed, because it is the same thing that you have, or there are some differences in your own. Okay. So we are saying that pedagogical examples, you build, so building on what others say. So learners in mixed ability and gender groups. So you can put them in mixed abilities, as we have told you, and then gender. So here we encourage that. At first, you see that boys will be sitting at one place, girls will be, no. Anything that you are doing in class, even their seating arrangement, you mix them, boys and girls, even if they are not many, you make sure that you distribute. And then, so brainstorming using previous knowledge acquired in the home, the school community, and then to explain their understanding of assets and liabilities. This is more or less when you are kind of introducing your lesson, using your RPK and the rest. So the teacher will provide targeted support for learners who may struggle. Teachers should also offer opportunity for learners who may grasp the understanding. And then teachers should also encourage learners who show high level of understanding. And then initiating talking. Initiating talking. Learners brainstorm to discuss resources business organizations use and how the resources are financed to gain assets in the fundamental accounting equation and calculate assets. So all these, you are trying to build on what you are teaching them. Again, you should note that teachers should provide targeted support. Teachers should offer opportunities. So all these that you are doing, you look at the different abilities that the learners have in the classroom. So as you are moving on, you consider them. If these people are weak, they are not getting it quickly as you want, you look at how you can help them. Those who are also moving fast, how do you help them? Then we have reflective learning or collaborative learning. So in groups, reflect on the effect of transactions on assets, liabilities, and capital to explain the double entry principle and record transactions in ledger, accounts of assets, liabilities, capital, and so on. And then we are saying that you should know that, as I said, you provide them. So all these things should come. And then there are keywords that you are to provide. We have the assets, liabilities, capital, double entry, accounting equation, trial balance. Then you are now, all these, as I said, are just like the introduction. introduction and then review of your RPK. So this is the main lesson. The main lesson drawing on the concept, the skills, and then competencies to reinforce us in the subject. Teacher manual, okay? The teacher activity will come, and then the learner activity too will come. So with the starter, review on of their previous knowledge, what they have actually learned that is going to what build on for the next topic that you are going to treat. So something that they have learned and you want to draw, you need a connection. So review learners' previous knowledge of change of subjects from core maths. You see, they have learned something in core maths. So you cannot do equation without bringing what they have learned in the core maths. And then let learners mention some of the properties of their parents and how they acquired those properties. Then introductory activity. You group the learners by considering different abilities, gender, and the rest. Then the learners, to what will they do? Learners will sit in their various assigned groups. You are saying you are going to group them, so the learners will sit there. Then you'll ask learners to introduce themselves to each other. Then the activity that the learners will be doing is they are introducing themselves. In 20 minutes, you write the mathematical equation on the board, and then you let learners reflect on their knowledge of the change of subject from the mathematics that they have actually done in core maths. Then you, the teacher, you go through the class, monitor the student activity, ensure that every student is doing the task that you have given them. You also, through demonstration, you show the learners how businesses acquire their assets, and then task learners to brainstorm to come out with some properties of their parents. Now learners will brainstorm on that too. Then through talks for learning, let learners brainstorm to come out with the double entry principles. You group the learners to brainstorm to come out. So in that order. Okay, now you also note that every question you ask in the lesson plan should have expected answer or expected response. This one, it was done in the old one. Here too, it is being done. So every question that you ask should have a response. So for instance, what is an asset? So the expected response will come. Then you give what an asset is. Okay. So we have the assessment. So key assessment, the first one is reproduction, recall. So when you are assessing them, you are just only assessing them. The first one is you want them to just recall what you have taught them. So they will state the double entry principle, they will state the accounting equation, the skills built in, then you explain. So now you are building their skills, you explain, they can differentiate. And then strategic thinking, that's one you need to analyze. So as I said, you use the Bloom's taxonomy, okay? You use the Bloom's taxonomy to be building on. Then the lesson closure will come in after everything. The teacher summarizes the point, or you can even ask a learner to summarize the point for you, okay? And then you also ask learners to link their everyday life experiences to the concepts of the asset, liability, and then the capital. And then you ask learners to show the effect of certain transactions on the accounting equation. Then you also remind learners to read on the trial balance for the next lesson. Then when everything is done, there is reflection after the lesson. You can example remarks. The grouping in class was done taking into consideration the different abilities, gender. You see, we are encouraging inclusion. So you talk about this. That is the reflection. So in the remarks, that's why we say in the remarks, you don't write anything. When everything is done, then you bring in your remarks. So now the reflection and the remarks, it says that, oh, we group the learners into their abilities, gender-wise, different abilities and the rest. We did blah, 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 and so on. And then reflection, were all learners involved in the lesson, and how well did you employ differentiation during the lesson? Did you, the teacher, engage all learners in purposeful activities to enhance their core competencies? And what would you have done differently if they ask you to do? So this is it. So this is the new lesson plan that they have introduced. As I said, it is not anything new from what we used to have. The only thing is, with the new lesson plan, they have given room for the learners to do most of the things. Okay, it is now learner-centered, and the teacher's role is to just facilitate learning, just as what they have given you. And you see, somebody even asked the question as to now that they are saying learner-centered, if we don't have all the resources, what can we do? So this is it. So it is now solely learner-centered. Learner-centered. They will be doing most of the activities. And then with this one too, you take into consideration their abilities. Nobody should be left out, comes here. If they are not performing, or if they are struggling, what can you do to help the learner to overcome that struggle? Any question or contribution? Do we have any question or contribution? It looks like this, we have been doing it. It is much easier.
Yeah, madam.
Yes.
Yes. The inclusion issue, and where
Yes.
children, we are doing these things at the basic level, the junior high school, struggling
okay.
children, helping them, cope. So just as you said, grouping them in such a way that the good ones make the good ones to the average ones for them, or the low performing ones for all of them to be addressed with. But sometimes you see, even the children themselves that you are trying to help are not ready. Even they are not ready to be helped. So when it happens like that, and look at motivation aspect in our senior high schools, in our basic school, is very low.
Yeah.
So I instruct, we do what we have to do, and somebody is struggling, so I have to spend additional time where I can go somewhere and then do something. And the motivation is not coming. How do we go about these things?
Okay. Class, it is to us. So he's saying that inclusion that they have brought, what should we do? Should we do it, or we should stop? Because there's no motivation. There is nothing that makes us actually do it. So what should we do? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think that he can do? He says there's no motivation. Now they are saying you should even, if somebody is not performing, if you want to do it well, you need to spend more time on that person. Even if it is after schools, classes or something, you need to do it. So what should we do?
Hello, madam.
Yes.
I think it's a big challenge when it comes to the Ghana education sector. Human resource, managing human resource, when we come to extrinsic motivation or even intrinsic motivation, it's quite a challenge in our system because the salary and its allowances are not enough. Sometimes going to that extent of even using your own pocket money to assess a student's just to come out with a good decision. Honestly, we at the bottom side of the job, there is nothing much we can do. Sometimes indirectly, but that shouldn't be so. We are also workers in the government sector. Some people are collecting allowances, sitting comfortable, but they will say you knew those jobs were there and we came, but that is not fair. What she's saying, I've given a very deep thought about it, and it's quite challenging when it comes to the basic school and that of the senior high school. The motivations are not there. It's very quite challenging. It takes an extreme devoted teacher who go an extra mile after school to so gather those students who couldn't get through the concepts to go over with them. Else, most of the teachers are being forced to, when you go to the senior high school, I know most of my colleagues here teaches at the senior high school. They either organize some extra classes at a fee, and if some parents could afford, then that would be fine. So it will be very challenging because these Ghanaian parents that we are having them now, the concept of the free education that they have received, I don't know how they get it to their end. I don't know whether they expect we, the teachers, to even add our salaries to the to support their students. They think everything is free. Yeah. I teach at the basic school, at the junior high school, and it is challenging.
Yeah.
They eventually doesn't want to contribute anything to support their children's education. They don't want to contribute, not even buy textbooks, exercise book. Textbook, rather, Madam Makoeche, exercise book. You have a student of school, junior high school, 1, 2, basic 7, 8, and 9. Still don't have, can't even write his name. At the examination center, I am there. We have students who can't even write their name. They're writing their B's. So sometimes the system also make the job become very difficult for us to acquire. So what my brother is saying is a big challenge. And the answer, I think it will depend on the higher level, not from us. That's my little advice. Thank you.
Okay. Wow, that's fine. So, as it is, Madam Rosemary has given us the actual reality on grounds. Any other person to I think basically she has said all. Basically she has said it all. Yeah. So I don't know.
Doctor,
Yes, Andy.
please, yes, doctor. Let me come to the sample remarks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Madam Rosemary has said it. So sometimes we intrinsically motivate ourselves
Sure.
to do more to enable the children to perform and perform well. Now, I have two questions here. One, I heard you said the sample remarks is written after the lesson.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, but I don't know. Senior high school is the head teacher not?
It will be remarks. So what I have here is sample, but in the it will be remarks.
Okay,
in your lesson
so
notes will be remarks.
Remarks. Once
Yes.
the head teacher vet the lesson plan before the actual teaching, If so, do you leave the remark side for him to vet before you, after the lesson, you come back to write the remarks, or you anticipate what will be happening as we usually do down here, so that you do the remarks later after the lesson?
Okay. So with the remarks, as I said, we do it after the lesson. So if the head teacher wants to look at your notes before you go and teach, fine, he can look at it, but you have not taught. What if, let's say, you have planned everything and that day something happens and you couldn't teach? You have already written your remarks that, oh, I did this, I grouped the learners, I took into consideration their abilities, we thought everything was successful. And that day you couldn't teach because something happened. Let's say it rained heavily. You had to all go home. So with the remarks, we are saying that it comes after you have taught. When you teach, then you have in your mind that, oh, I'm going to group the learners, but you have not done it. So after you do it, then you know what you actually did in the classroom, what actually happened in the classroom. Then you write it at the remarks. And then reflection, what you know how to reflect, what you did, what you think you can improve on. But if you have not taught, you don't know whether this method that I am going to use will work. If you used and it worked, and you think you are reflecting and, oh, the next lesson too, if this one worked for me, I think I can repeat it, and you are writing it there, that is fine. But if you have not done anything, you have not taught anything, you have not reflected on what you have done, if you write it, then it means you are just writing off head because somebody thinks you have to write something there. But the right thing is, maybe if some people do not know and they still argue that you need to write before you go to class, tell them that the right thing for you to do is you need to teach. When you finish, then the things that went on in the classroom that you think you can write a remarks on, then you provide. Then the things that you did in the classroom, after you sitting down, reflecting on what you did, the things that you think gained, like things that were good, that you want to repeat, things that you think you didn't do well, that you would need to change. Probably you did not even tell them to go and do like go and read before coming. When you went, you asked them to write a test, it didn't go well. So after reflecting, oh, okay, this method, I have to change it. I need to do this next time. So all these things, as we are saying, has to come after the lesson. So after the lesson, then you can get a concrete something to write on. But if you don't teach and you're just guessing, it will be a guesswork, and which is not ideal for the lesson plan. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to ask a question.
Sure.
It seems the lesson plan that you've done is a very detailed one. I just want to know whether it's being done. The lesson plan is for the whole week, and then because somewhere when you were doing the time, I saw 180 minutes, but in the division of it, it was 20 minutes and 5 minutes for the introduction and other
So
things.
180 minutes is how many? How many? It's 2 hours. 120 minutes is what? 2 hours, right?
180 minutes, that is 3 hours.
So
No,
if
it
you
is
have a 3-hour class like we are doing, so you see, we have 4 hours. Is that not it?
Yes,
4 hours.
yes, we have.
Yes, we have 4 hours. So if it happens that this is just a guess work. So if it happens that you are doing 3 hours for the learners, it means it will be 180. And with that 180, when you are teaching, you don't teach all at a go. So you are now going to look at the number of minutes that you spend on the things that you are going to do in the classroom. So for instance, how many minutes are you going to use for the starter? like the introduction. As for introduction, I don't think if you have 3 hours, this one is 2 hours. So if you have 2 hours, I don't think introduction should take about 30 minutes. No. So introduction, if you want to do it well and is okay, 5 to 10 minutes should be fine. Okay, so that is why we have apportioned the time. So in your lesson plan, all the activities that you are going to do should have time allotted. Okay, so the introduction is 10 minutes. Then after the introduction, if you have other things to do, so the introductory activity, so this is the activity that, as I said, this is the question. So you you review their previous knowledge on this, the mathematical, and you see, because it is mathematics, it is going to take some time for them to be writing. You can even change about 2 or 3 people before you start the main one. Or you can even let them write in their books. You going around can take about 10 minutes. So that's why we have given 10 minutes. Then the activity that they are doing, okay, the activity that they are doing. So the introductory one that you have asked them to do is this. Then the activity for them to actually do the mathematics will take 20 minutes. Then activity 2 that you want them to do will take this minutes. So in that order, so all the activities that you want them to do, that is why we are saying that with the lesson plan, it helps you to move systematically from this, I'll move to this, from this, I'll move to this. So all the activities, so if you don't time yourself, some activities would take more time, which is not supposed to be, or it is either you are going to overstay your time, or you will not even teach up to the number of hours that you are supposed to teach. So that is why all the activities you put time there so that it will guide you on what you are supposed to do, whether this one needs more time. So if this needs more time, then I have to treat it as such. If this one needs a lesser time, I have to treat it as such. For instance, if you are done with everything and then you are summarizing, I don't think the summary or closure would take about 30 minutes. You are only summarizing. You have taught the whole thing and you are summarizing. 15 minutes should be enough for you to complete. And if you have, let's say, so with the evaluation too, if you have given them class exercise and you want them to do the exercise in the classroom, you can give them about 20 minutes because it is exercise that you want to mark too. So this is it. You give them time so that each activity will be monitored. Then it can advise you to move on to the next one in that order. So the whole time that we are going to spend, the whole period that the school, let's say the school has given to you for that lesson is 120 minutes. But the 120 minutes, you, the teacher, how are you to utilize it? That is how come that you have to break down into the activity. So each activity will have its time that you are going to use. Each activity will have time allotted to it that you are going to use. Please, are you okay?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, that is fine. Is there any other question?
Yes, madam.
Yes, sure, go ahead.
So, madam, you see, when you pick the curriculum,
yes,
let's say science, for instance, is good. It's something that is learner centered, and it ensures that all things being equal, the student should be able to acquire a lot of skills for future use. But just like the excuse me, just like the syllabus, you see that the GES or the Ministry of Education itself has not shifted from the fact that what they are learning is a lifetime something that they are learning, and it is still, we measure teachers' performance based on the final assessment, which is the BEC or the WASI.
sure.
And that is where you hear the politicians talking. This year, the children did better than last year when this government was
People
in
were
power.
in government.
Yes. So I still don't get it. Is it that we have still not realized what the curriculum itself is seeking for? And we still go by the fact that we need to use the examination, the final examination, because today we are made to understand that even oral questions that you ask the children is an assessment.
Yes.
And therefore, if they don't do written assessment, orally, you have assessed them.
Sure.
So why are they still basing performance on examination, which is the BEC or the WASI?
Oh, sure. So basically, that is it. Because you can even do class presentation as we are doing. We can assess you based on the presentations that we do in class. But you see, in Ghana here, it has become the standard. Let me put it that way. The standard is, if you don't write an exam, we don't know whether the student has learned or not, because there are some practical subjects that learners need to do practical work. Like, let's say those who are doing clothing and textiles, give them the sewing machine, give them the needle, the thread, and let them sew. That you will see that they can do it or not. But we will just take them to the classroom, give them paper and pen, and then we'll ask them, when you want to sew this one, what should you do? That person, if the person does not get it, it means the person is not good. So that is it. I think Ghana, that is it. So maybe as we are coming up, we all should try and see if we can change it, because elsewhere, when you go, the kids, they start developing things when they are young, and you can't. So that is why we can't take the engineering from those people from that side, the Asians. We can't take it from them, because they, from the beginning, from the scratch, they see you as an engineer. So all the things that you do, it is not a matter of you writing exams, you doing the practical thing. So as we are going on, I think now that we are all beginning to understand what should work for us, maybe going forward, we will be able to change it. Because honestly, it is not only examination that we use in assessing. There are so many things that we use in assessing. Just talking to the person, you can assess the person. That is fine. Any other contribution or question?
Madam, I think we are good to go.
Okay, that is fine.
Yes.
All right. So I think, in fact, I forgot. So, who is the course rep? Because I think the main reason why I did not share, can the course rep WhatsApp me? When we are done, the course rep should WhatsApp me. Okay.
Okay, madam.
All right. Okay, so I think we have about just 5 minutes to go. If we decide to take another topic, we will not be able to finish. So I think we should all have a lovely week coming, full of energy and health. Okay, so I think
Madam, please go.
Yes.
Please, last
Yes.
week I had interruption somewhere. Can we have a recap of the assignment you gave us?
Okay. So the assignment is on the lesson plan. So I said that we are going to do lesson plan. So now that I have given you the template, we'll look at it, and then all of us would choose a topic So we take a topic of our choice and then work on it. So using the format that I have given you, so that you can send to me. Then I'll look at whether you have actually understood it. I am doing this because, you see, the lesson plan takes, I think, a huge aspect of this are methods that we are doing. So I want to see how we can treat the lesson plan, because it is not the same as what we have down there. That's why I've given you an assignment. I want to see how we actually understand the lesson plan. So now that we have
Okay.
seen what goes into it, you choose any topic, then work for me.
Madam, in
Yes.
accounting or in any subject?
No, so what we are doing is accounting. So you either choose accounting or costing. So cost accounting or financial accounting. Do you get it?
Madam, my
Yes.
problem is most of us are in the basic school and we don't have the syllabus for costing and accounting.
Okay, so I'll try it. I used to have the accounting syllabus. I'll try and see if I get it. I'll send it on the platform. Or you too, you can search.
Okay.
Yes, you can search. Because it is accounting that we are doing. That is why I want us to do something in accounting. I'll try and see if I get, I'll put it there. If I don't get to, try and share. As for that, the syllabus, it is in the system you get.
Okay.
I used to have it on my phone, but I've changed it, so I don't know if I still have it, so, but I'll check.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I hope you are fine.
I'm cool, madam.
Yeah. All right. So I think if we don't have any other thing, call it a day. Emmanuel, do you have anything for us?
Madam, say.
I saw that your microphone was on, so I thought you wanted to talk.
No, madam.
Okay, then that is fine. So we'll meet next week, same time. All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.